Well, the table is set for Sunday with AFC Championship. Kansas City and Cincinnati will mix it up at Arrowhead. Joe Burrow leading the Bengals back to this stage for the first time since 1988. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, they're no strangers at this point in the season. Fourth consecutive appearance in this game. This would be the second time these two, of course, have met, once in the regular season and Sunday. Smoking Joe and Cincy getting the best of KC in Week 17 after a game-winning field goal there by Evan McPherson to seal the deal, 34-31. So we'll see what happens on Sunday. Brandon Bailey here at HQ, presented by H&R Block. Help is here. Joining me now, 1/3 of the Pick Six podcast, host Will Brinson. And let's start with, here, your player on Sunday that might be here to help a certain team come Sunday.
Well, I think Ja'Marr Chase qualifies as somebody who could be here to help not just the Cincinnati Bengals with his play, but also his quarterback and longtime pal and former college teammate Joe Burrow. Ja'Marr Chase, of course, set the single game rookie record for receiving yards against the Chiefs back a few weeks ago. And I would hope that Kansas City defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo would do a little bit better job, maybe shifting some double teams to Ja'Marr Chase. But here's the thing, Brandon, even if he's double teamed and doesn't put up some massive number, he can still be there to help out his pal T. Higgins or maybe even Tyler Boyd, who will then be getting single coverage. That's the problem with the Bengals, similarly to the Chiefs, right? If you focus in on one of their star receivers, it's going to lead the other the young star receiver, to have a big game. I would not be surprised if we saw Ja'Marr Chase toppling the record of my friend Torrey Holt for most receiving yards by a rookie in postseason history.
It's crazy to think that he told the story that Les Miles didn't think he can actually be a receiver. That's now a thing of the past based on what we're seeing now here with the Bengals. All right, give me some of your props here. Let's start, of course, with the QBs. What's your best prop in this one?
So looking at the quarterback, I do think there's some value here on Caesars on the under of Joe Burrow passing attempts. It's at 38.5. That's just a really, really big number. The Bengals would have to be running a lot more tempo and completely unable to move the ball on the ground with Joe Mixon in order for him to hit that number. Additionally, Kansas City, as we saw against Buffalo, is more than willing to have these lengthy 5, 6, 7 plus minute drives. And you go and look at what Joe Burrow did in that game against Kansas City. Remember, that was 34-31. Tons of points put up. Burrow threw for 446 yards. We talk about all those receiving yards Chase had, and he still just got over that number by a half an attempt. I think there's a lot of value in that under, and it probably comes down a little bit as we get closer to kick.
All right, let's look at the RBs. You're propping that one. Are you going with Clyde Edwards-Helaire or maybe Joe Mixon on Sunday?
I'm a little worried about Clyde Edwards-Helaire here taking the under, only because we just recorded the Friday's Pick Six podcast with our picks episode for the conference championship, and noted gambling genius R.J. White had the over on Clyde Edwards-Helaire, so that spooks me a little bit. But I'm going to take the under, and a couple of reasons why. One, there's a game script here where the Bengals have a lead and they're running, and the Chiefs are forced to throw a ton, where Clyde gets out of that, gets away from that number. And then two, Jerick McKinnon's presence in the offense, plus Darrell Williams returning to practice. I think we could see a lot wider distribution of the carries for these running backs, or maybe even utilizing them more in the passing game, the short passing game, and it just sort of turns into a shootout where Edwards-Helaire not exactly getting fed a ton of carries. I'll take the under on his rushing yards, 37.5.
All right, if we're looking at a shootout here, you got to give me your wide receiver, tight end prop. Look, you got targets on both sides here, so which way you leaning?
I'm already all in on Ja'Marr Chase. Why not lean into it more, right? Ja'Marr Chase, anytime touchdown is minus 120. That's you'd love to have a plus number by that. Or certainly, shop around if you can. But with Travis Kelce at minus 150, that's a little steep. I'm going to take Chase at minus 120. And then if you're going to bet that single touchdown score for Chase, go ahead and bet it twice. And then he scores 2 touchdowns in the game with a 54.5 total. Ja'Marr Chase is plus 420 to score twice. I think we could easily see 2 touchdowns from him here as Joe Burrow looks for his favorite target in a critical win or go home game.
I agree with you on that one. 2 targets sounds pretty nice for Ja'Marr Chase here. All right, let's look at the big picture here in the game. Bengals, of course, at KC. They get 7 points here, but the over-under 54.5. Look, they won this game early in the season, but this is a different time. Which way are you leaning? Are you liking the points, the over-under? What's your play in this one?
Yeah, I like the Bengals, and I think you probably want to wait if you want to bet the Bengals. I would guess that it gets maybe to 7.5. We'll see. Look, the reality is Kansas City's awesome. They are a really, really good football team. Of course, everyone knows this. They've been to 4 straight AFC Championship games, and this is the just rename it after Mahomes. So Brady had it. Now it's Patrick Mahomes'. And while I don't like fading Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, especially against a Bengals team that's here for the first time since 1988, I do think when you look at how the Bengals have performed against quality teams and in spots where they had to win the games, Joe Burrow just steps up in a big way. I think even if Kansas City is up like 14 or so, even if there's ample opportunity for Cincinnati to storm through the back door. So I'll take the Bengals here. Plus, I picked the Bengals before the playoffs to make the Super Bowl. I will take the Bengals straight up and against the spread in this spot.
All right, taking Smoking Joe there, and Cincinnati Bengals haven't got back to this spot since 1988, the first time for them. We'll see how that pans out at Arrowhead. Once again, KC, 4th time hosting and appearing in this game. Appreciate your time as always. Will Brinson breaking it all down for us there with those plays. Don't forget, you can catch up with the Pick Six podcast. The fella's a little busy today. Emergency podcast having to do with a guy named Ben Roethlisberger, hanging it up after 18 seasons and 2 Super Bowls. The fella's breaking it all down, going through the archives and looking at that. Download and follow. But before we get to that, let's recap some of those picks there. Looking at the QB prop, Joe Burrow, 38.5 passing attempts. Top running back, Edward-Helaire there, 37.5. The under, will go with that. Then when it comes to the pass catchers, rolling the dice here, Jamar Chase, anytime touchdowns, and 2 or more coming in -120 and +420 there. And then taking the Bengals. The underdogs at +7, the over-under at 54.5. Remember, they won that game week 17. Let's see how it happens on Sunday at Arrowhead.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.